pumped. Yay. Some people.
Well. Hello, everybody. My name is Michelle Gardner-Ince, aka GI, um, business strategist, LinkedIn top voice. But most of all of my adult life, I have been serving military members and their families. And now I am so excited to be able to help women veterans transitioning into business who are seeking to take their intellectual property and years of knowledge and bring it to their unique community. And you might say, Michelle, how in the heck did you get here? Well, I want to just go back just a small amount of time to tell you about the amazing person I have the pleasure of being on the stage with. Mary, how we met was 3 years ago. My brand, I call it my brand birth, started with Nick Nelson, a brandpreneur. He took that first, I know, let's give it up for Nick, right? He took that very first photo of me with the salute. And 5 years later, it has evolved. But he was the one that introduced me to you, Mary. And so it is my pleasure. I've had the opportunity to spend almost 12 weeks, about 10 weeks now, me with a group of other leaders, international, from all over the world, being coached and mentored by Mary. So Mary is a brand strategist. She is a brand coach. She helps you take your intellectual property. I say she's helped me get a PhD in me and helped me to bring that to market. But Mary, tell us all about what you do, who you are, before we get started on our topic today.
Michelle, I love you, and thank you, Nick Nelson, because we love Nick so much. Like, he is just like my number one. And my work is really around, how should I say this? I want to maintain people's wisdom and convert that into something more than just their professional and personal experience. I want to take people's wisdom, knowledge, and skill set and convert that into a solution that is monetizable. And over the top of that, we create the brand, we create their signature program, and of course, a sales and marketing strategy. And all of this is interlinked. And this is my passion. And the reason I have this passion is because I believe that wisdom is a currency. We need to preserve it. We need to look after it, because we live in a world where there's a lot of complex problems, and people like us can solve those complex problems. So if you're sitting on a gold mine of wisdom, knowledge, and skill set, and you're thinking, I don't know what to do with that, this is going to be the most awesome live video stream that you're going to be on, because we're going to really break this down for you guys. So that's in a nutshell what I do.
Look, I didn't get my notification that normally comes up on our events, so I just want to make sure that we absolutely are live. We don't want people to. Oh my God, my notification that normally comes up on. Okay, we are live. On our events, so I just want to make sure. Wonderful. I wanted to verify that we are live. So you know what, Mary? Our topic for today is really about helping veterans be authentic in their authority. And boy, do veterans have authority, right? And how to take that authority and all of their knowledge and skills and make it and turn it into a product or a service that they can serve. How can they continue to serve their audience, their community, those who are unique to them?
I think, Michelle, that the most important thing that we need to understand is, who am I? And I think it's a very important starting point because I don't think that we spend a lot of time in going down that rabbit hole. Now, when you ask yourself, who am I? You're actually looking at the multifaceted version of you. You're not just looking at my military experience from the standpoint of what have I done professionally? Whilst that's very important, hang on a minute. What about the personal aspect of yourself? Where does that fit in? What about your passions? What about your gifts? What about your talents? What about the things that make you quirky? What about the things that you absolutely stand for and value? All of these aspects make up who you truly are. So we've got to amplify the largeness of who we are rather than worshiping the small version of us, because the small version of us keeps us shriveled up. It keeps us in fear, and we never ever open ourselves up to ask, what if this did work out? What if I did go down that pathway and tried starting a new business or becoming an entrepreneur? What if that actually works out? Instead, we've been programmed to think, what if it doesn't work out? What will everyone think of me? What will happen? And what I'm trying to do is I want to break that paradigm because that is not natural. What is natural is curiosity. Now, remember, we were all children once upon a time, yes? When you're a child, you are full of curiosity. You're always asking questions. You're in awe of everything. Everything's about a wow factor. Your imagination runs wild when you're a child, but we lost that. We go to school and they pull that away, and now you're rewarded for how good your memory is. So, and then we get told that the only way you can be successful is to get a degree, go to university, and that's your ticket to success. And we know that's not true. So we have to challenge all of these societal ideologies. We have to get comfortable doing that. I almost get people to unlearn what they've learned, because when you unlearn what you've learned, let me tell you, there is another world out there. And so the multifaceted version of us is what needs unpacking, not the professional version. Yes, that's very important and that comes into the mix. But what about the rest of you? That also needs to be incorporated. Inside there, we actually find a solution. Michelle, are you there still? Oh, it looks like we've lost Michelle. Michelle. Well, I'll just keep talking then. So there we go. Oh, we've
Absolutely. I'm so sorry I lost you. My
yes.
computer died. I don't know if it crashed or something. I just saw snow. So thank God for phones and for backup. But yes, you're absolutely right. You know, most of us who are in the military, we've been in this system that has told us who we are, what to believe, how to be. What advice would you give, Mary, to those of us who are trying to transition and reprogram ourselves, right? Or deprogram ourselves?
Well, I think that the first step is that we have to have the self-awareness and the desire. I think those two things are very important. In fact, they go hand in hand, Michelle. We need to have the desire to want to change. That's the first thing. Like we can see that something is not right. Maybe you've hit a glass ceiling, maybe you're bored, whatever. It doesn't matter what the reason is. The reason is exclusive to the individual. But when we become self-aware that something's not right, we're not right, where maybe things are not flowing in the direction that we want, I think that's the starting point, because then you start to ask really big questions. And I always say, when you ask big questions, the answer lives inside that question. The answer's never outside of the question, it's always inside the question. So if we have that desire to make a change in our life and to actually create impact in the world, They are the two most important ingredients, or the starting points, if you will. Because when you start to question your paradigm and the status quo that we have been living in, you're going to get really uncomfortable, because you're going to learn some fundamental truths that you've never learned before. That's confronting. So, but we have to stand up to that. We have to rise above that. Be adults, want to learn beyond what we see. We have to learn beyond what we've been told, and we have to dig a little bit deeper. When we dig a little bit deeper, we're going to find some golden nuggets. To me, that is the starting point. It's not about, I want to start an entrepreneurial business. That's seductive. I understand that. But to start an entrepreneurial business, you also need systems. You need to be able to follow some sort of infrastructure to get you from A to B at least. So it is very seductive to want to start a business, and I highly encourage it. But you have to be ready for that pathway. And to me, before you even take on that journey, we have to actually challenge the status quo.
So, Mary, what are some questions that people who are seeking, uh, uh, who may even be in this entrepreneurial journey, and that would help them with clarity? You said it's in the questions. What are a couple of questions, if you don't mind sharing with them, that would help them kind of understand what you're talking about?
I think that there's two sides to this coin. The first side of the question is actually challenging the status quo, the way that we have been taught to believe success, what success looks like. I think we've got to challenge all of those aspects of the ideology that society has painted over the top of us. We really need to question that. And that's an individualized experience. The second part is understanding, who am I? So if I want to go down the entrepreneurial path and exchange my experience with another currency called money, then I need to understand, okay, if this is the path I want to go down, what is the complex problem that I can solve? Or what is the problem that I can solve? Who is it that I can actually serve for real? And what is it that I can promise for real? Because you see, here's the problem that we have, Michelle, with a lot of people that want to go down the entrepreneurial path. We're not, to actually be successful as a coach or a consultant, let's just use those two labels. We don't want to be selling tactics and information. Most people are selling tactics, information, swipe files, tips and tricks, all of this stuff. They're not monetizable. They're transient. So we've got to get beyond that. And we're not. What do I mean by that? We need methodologies, systems that are outcome and results driven. If you can't deliver an outcome and you can't deliver a result, you're just like everybody else. And you fall back into that space called information, tactics, tips and tricks, swipe files. We don't want to be in that space. That's a transient space. That's where you're going to get your $19, $29 courses. We have to rise above that. We want to be in premium. To be premium, you have to be able to deliver outcomes and results. There's actually another layer above this, and I call this your universal wisdom. These are the people that actually incorporate their own life experience into their teachings, into their coaching, into the mentoring. Yes, they have systems. Yes, they can deliver outcomes and results, but actually, they also incorporate universal principles, biblical principles, ancient wisdom, all of this stuff. That is where real transformation actually happens. Why? Because universal law is the truth. So and the person who's actually delivering that truth has dedicated their life to learning that truth. So there's a discipline and a commitment that backs up that individual. Now, not everyone needs to get to that level, but if you can create a system, a solution that is outcome and results driven, you're going to have a very, very good, successful business. And to get that in order, means that you show up as an authority. You're not showing up to be an authority or to become an authority or to be seen as an authority. You are the authority. That is the starting point already. So
Yeah.
when you're showing up, it's a completely different energy than saying, I want to be on LinkedIn because I want to be seen as the authority. I'm showing up on LinkedIn saying, but I'm already the authority. I don't need to be seen as I'm already that. So
Yes.
that would be my advice.
Yes, and I think, it's what the kids, the young folks say. You have receipts. There's already evidence of your success,
Yes.
and there's already results. Even this is what I love about the veteran and the military, even the corporate community, is there are already systems we've learned that have led us and trained us to be where we are, to be successful. And we don't need additional certifications and degrees in order to, in order to do that. But many of us feel like we need that. Why do you think we feel like we need to go get more when we already have what you've told us many times in the boot camp, that we are enough?
Because I think that we've been programmed to believe that we have to do everything ourselves. We've got this, this ideology, this paradigm that actually has started from the school system. Let's unpack this together. Think about this. You're in the school system and you are taught to go home and do homework on your own. That's a problem because that is not even normal. My kids have a tutor. They do it together with a tutor to help them unpack things in micro parts. So there's a book called Ask Who, Not How. I love that book so much because it's so aligned with my philosophy. And the premise of the book is, if you're going to ask how, you're always going to be stuck in that glass ceiling, because it also aligns with that whole notion of the DIY mindset. Do it yourself, do everything yourself. Become a marketer, a salesperson, a personal branding specialist, a business specialist, a LinkedIn specialist. You're everything. You can do it all yourself. But you see, that is a how to DIY mindset that was programmed in us from the school system. You can do it yourself. Just learn it yourself. Go and buy a $29 course and suddenly you're an expert. So here's the problem with that, Michelle, that you can't be an expert even if I went and bought a certification in a weekend seminar. Why do I say that? Because I haven't experienced it. If I haven't experienced the knowledge, why would you want to take advice from me? I'm just asking here. Do you see the difference here? So I can DIY until I'm blue in the face. But if I haven't experienced it, and if I haven't got out, and if I can't see outcomes and results or a transformation, what good is that DIY except for the fact that I've wasted 5, 10 years trying to do it myself, the how, and I never once put my hand up and said, who can actually help me get to my destination in the shortest time possible? This is why coaching and mentoring is so important, because when you get a coach, that coach is going to fast track you years, not months or days, years. So I think that this is the problem, Michelle.
Yes. Did I lose you?
I think I'm not sure. Can you
I
have you
can
got
hear
me back?
you.
Yeah, great. Yeah, so that's what I feel. I feel that that's the problem right there.
Well, I was thinking that, first of all, as we look at transition, right, and taking our authority, um, and I think the key thing that you're talking about is the authentic authority makes us an authority. We're talking from the place in which we are. We may be ahead of some people, right? Some of the people we're trying to help. But in reality, we don't need to go get it. We just need to share it. And it is the systems that I have learned while being in your boot camp in how to do that. Now, let's talk about, as we look at, how to take that and then make it into something. I think it's the confidence piece, right? When you're talking about transition, how do I see the world or my market, and how do they see me? How do people overcome that to really get more clarity on what they're trying to do, the business that they're trying to do?
You just said a very important word, and that's confidence. Now, let me share with you my understanding of that word from somebody that's experienced it through myself and many other people that I've worked with. Confidence comes when you have certainty of what it is that you can bring into the world. Okay. In the area that I work in, when people start to unpack what I call their internal inventory, their professional and their personal experience, and they merge it together, and then suddenly they start to see that they have an actual solution to a problem, that is life changing for a lot of people, because suddenly you've gone from, I can do all of these things, to actually now saying, this is what I do. Now, when you are clear on what you do, now you can speak to that with conviction, with passion, with clarity. The content that you create around that comes from a place of knowing. You're not actually writing from a place of reading two books and saying, oh, I'll just take a little bit of that and I'll copy and paste somebody else's stuff. I'll go to ChatGPT and get Chat to write all my content for me. No, you can write the content. Now, I want to just add one more thing here, Michelle. And I think this is very important. When we're writing content, for example, a lot of people say, my content doesn't work, Mary. I'm posting, but it doesn't work. Yes, it doesn't work because you're not writing from a place of energy. You're writing from a place of desperation. There are two, there are two gifts, two instruments that we've all been gifted, every single human being, our voice and our hands. The voice speaks, the hands write. Now let's look at, if you are having a bad day, or you're responding to the external stimuli, and you are now responding to the world in a fearful manner. Someone said something to you, you didn't like it, you had an argument with your spouse, your boss said something to you, doesn't matter, but you've responded in a fearful way. Now you've responded to the external stimuli, and now you're sending a message to the body to get it ready for fight or flight. You're in fear, you're scared, you're angry, whatever. The body is now producing what we call emotions and feelings. And the emotions and feelings are now have taken over every cell of your body. But here's the part that most people don't understand. It's also consumed all of the energy in your body. The feelings and the emotions need that energy in order to be activated, and they're moving in your body. So when you go and write your post, or you go and do a LinkedIn live or record some video for Instagram, and you say, Mary, I'm not getting any likes, I will be asking you, when you wrote that post, what state of being were you in? Because if you wrote that post and you recorded a video and you had zero energy, power to give that post, I'll guarantee you it will fail. Guarantee you. Because what you put out in the world is either charged or not charged. That's it. And this is actually not even woo-woo. This is actually just talking about just 101 energies. We know, we all know, you've walked into a room and you're either feeling inspired or you're feeling that something's off, something doesn't feel right. That's because the energies are playing out in the room. We need to understand this. This is what I keep on saying to people. Understand who you are. That's why it states, know thyself. There is a reason for that. So we need to understand ourselves at a much, much, much deeper level. I'm talking at a cellular level. To me, that is the starting point, inside out. Everyone's starting outside and not even bothering about going on the inside. So when we start to understand that and we shift our paradigm, we're going to actually show up from a completely different standpoint. You're on mute, Michelle.
That is so, thank you. That is so true. We show up, how we show up
Hmm.
is based on what we have inside, right? And I think that is the struggle with military members, because we have this uniform on, right? And that's an identity. Then we have this job or mission we've been challenged to do. That's an identity. So showing up, is the challenge, I think, in the mindset. And I know we've
Yeah.
talked about mindset being one of the greatest hurdles as you transition into entrepreneurship, and when you just transition into who you are, right? Into taking off that uniform or that those constraints, or the brand of your particular corporate or military organization. Now you are taking it and you are saying, what part is me? And you and I talked yesterday about the personal part and the professional part. Can you expand on that?
Yes, I think that's a really great question. And also talking about identities is also a great thing as well. You're absolutely right. We leave our corporate job or the military and you are wearing an armor. And that armor is your identity. I'm sergeant, I'm this, I'm that. It was labels. It's all labels. Same with corporate. I'm CEO, CFO, VP. It's all just a label. That actually that business card is the identity for a lot of people, by the way. Who am I without that business card? Who am I without that uniform? So, and that is again, Michelle, a whole of it's an ideology that has been painted on us because we are told go and get a degree and become something, a label, and that will validate you. So that has become our default. I look at people from two aspects because I do believe that whatever professional skills you have learned is a part of your purpose and mission. I truly believe that. But your personal experience is also a part of your purpose and mission as well. So when we merge personal and professional together, now we get a much bigger picture, but we also get a more clear picture of who you truly are. The skills, the gifts, the talents, the professional experience, the accolades, the credentials, the degrees, the hero's journey, all of that needs to be put into one bucket. We then need to organize that information. We need to look at that from the standpoint or through the lens of what can I do with all of this? Where can I take all of this? Who needs this? Whose problem can I solve with ease and grace? Because when you show up as the natural, in your natural state of being, you will have confidence, you will speak with conviction, and you will draw in the right people at the right time with ease and grace. We have to be unapologetically ourselves. This is why I laugh when I see all these gurus on social media talking about be your authentic self, be your authentic self. You already are authentic. You were born authentic. Our DNA is completely different. We are all authentic. Please understand language, words, and how people communicate because most people are not at the principal level. They're just teaching you tactics, stuff that doesn't add value to any of our lives. Zero, nothing. Because if you can't speak to your audience based on your expertise, in other words, I am an authority. I can deliver outcomes, I can deliver results, and I can deliver transformation. I don't need to be authentic. I was born authentic. I don't need to be an authority. I'm already an authority. I've got 40,000 plus hours in my area of specialization. How much more authority do you need? Do you see what I'm saying? So we've got to look at it from that standpoint.
Yes.
That's why, Michelle, I get everybody to look at their inventory in hours multiplied by an hourly rate so you can see for yourself, whoa, I'm already sitting on $2 million of an intellectual currency, my own intellectual currency. we're walking multimillionaires and we don't even know it.
And woe is right. I mean, because I'm going to tell you the technique that Mary has taken me through, and that's on, that's what I can speak to, has been a bit overwhelming because, of course, I've been working 40 years, so all of that experience, but packaging it and making it into, this is a package. These things go together. This has value. This has value to these people at this stage in their journey, has been just transformational, for me. And, you said a word that was also kind of triggering, and you said bravery. And I will tell you that takes, we talk about being brave and defending our country and, brave against fear, but some of the ways that we, I can say I am most challenged to be brave is to be myself, to,
Yeah.
to share myself, right? And it's not so much for me that I am concerned about people liking it or not. It is more of, is it needed?
I hear you, because I think that a lot of people are there. That's exactly right. What I hear often, but everyone else can do what I do. What makes me so special?
Yeah.
Oh, of course, everyone can do what you do, but they can't do it the way that you do it. They can't deliver it the way that you do it. This is why I am very, very, very interested in bringing in the personal side, because you know what personal gives you? The principles. You see,
Yeah.
people leave that out. They're like, no one knows. If you've been on a spiritual journey, that your client will get transformation because of that wisdom. So this is why we've got to bring that aspect into the professional aspect, because when you merge that together, that salesperson may be in sales and you may be in sales, but the way that you deliver sales is completely different.
And that hits home when I talk to my women veterans about their
Yes.
business. One of the things I'm always telling them is, hey, other people do HR, other people do training, other people do IT, other people do, coaching or whatever. What makes it special is you. How
Yes.
you do those things is what makes, that's your unique value proposition. Would you like to expand on that?
Yes, I think that what we need to be comfortable with when you're talking about your unique, your unique selling proposition, is to be very clear right up front. As I say, in one sentence, we should be able to articulate what we do, what I do, who I serve, and who I promise in one sentence. And I always use the analogy, and you've heard me say this, Michelle. If you were at a dinner party or a party, you were sitting next to somebody, and somebody asked you, what do you do? Do you give them the 45-minute version of what I do? Well, I'm a yoga instructor, but I'm trying to be a coach and I'm a mentor. And then I do this on the weekend, but I love Pilates. And oh, did I tell you about my cooking show that I started last week? And and also I'm also a trained blah, blah, blah. That person's already switched off. What we need to do is get clarity on that. Comes back to unpacking your internal inventory first and foremost, because you can't understand what your unique selling proposition is until you can actually answer that question. What do I do? Who do I serve? What do I promise? It's very easy when you break it down like that. In fact, that's actually the same advice I give people when they're actually creating their LinkedIn profile title. Just answer those three questions. That's your starting point. If you can't answer those three questions, then you need to dig deeper, or you need to get help to actually help you unpack that.
So, Mary, I was just thinking about, as we, with our theme of, authentic authority, when we're crafting a vision, um, what would you say that vision is a vision of ourselves, that we want to serve the community, or that we want to serve our market? Or would you say it's that we first want to craft the vision based on the market need?
You know, Michelle, I think that I'm going to answer that a little bit different, because
Mm.
I think that before we even do that, we need to establish our purpose and mission. I think that's really important,
Yeah.
because why would you go and serve if you don't have a purpose and mission, right? It's of no value. It's like when you're in the military, the purpose and mission is actually collective. It's
Yeah.
all right, it's collective, it's the community, the country, it's the citizens that, you know, you're representing millions of people in your country. It's a bit different but the same, if that makes sense. So we have to take a step back and we say, but what is my purpose? What is my mission? Where am I going? What
Yes.
is it that I'm trying to achieve here? Because if we don't start there, then everything becomes reactive and desperate. It's going to be, oh, I'm doing it, hustle. We start hustling, you know, where, oh, I'll try this, I'll try that, maybe this, maybe that. I'm against all of that. I'm not interested in that. To me, that's wasting time. Honestly, it's just wasting time. And I look at it through the eyes of, I look at it through a completely different lens. You know, there's each human being lives for approximately 960 months.
Hmm.
That's not a lot, right? Think about it. So when you look at it like that, you have got no time to waste. You have to look at it through that lens, and then you ask yourself, okay, I'm halfway through that. What am I going to do for the next half of my life? Because
Exactly.
I need purpose and mission. I'm not leaving this world and getting to the last day of my life and say, I wish I did that. I wish that I started my business. I wish I said that. I wish I did this. I wish. I don't want to be that person. I want to be able to say, I had a mission, I had a purpose, and I fulfilled that. Now, the other side of the coin is this: we need to also stop putting monetary value as a measure of success. Oh,
Wow.
I didn't make $100,000 or $500,000 in my entrepreneurial business. I'm a failure. We have got to stop doing that, because that is not how you measure success when you're on the entrepreneurial journey. You cannot measure it like that. Everyone is at a different everyone has a different time and place. You can't determine the market. There's lots of variables. If you're going in it to make a quick $100,000 in 24 hours, you're going in it for the wrong reason. You really need to come in from the angle of purpose and mission first. I cannot stress this enough. Why? Because every human has a purpose and mission, and we must find it and pursue it. And that purpose and mission service is in there.
Yeah.
So that is my advice.
And that's where the gold is.
Yes,
That's
that's
where the gold, I mean, that's where our pot of gold, our ability to bring value to the market, and for that market to reward us with what we give it, right, in the form of, you know, fees, success, income, revenue. And you are so right. That's dependent. Each person's version of success is different, right?
yes.
200,000 might be perfect for someone who, hey, says that allows me to maintain balance with my family, as
Yeah.
well as to serve the market. But at the same token, there may be somebody else who wants 200 million if that's their thing. But the reality really is, as you're saying, is it is dependent. It is within us to determine that, and then that is what we bring to the market, how we set our business up, is what then the market gives back to us. But the key thing you said is we got to stand in our authentic authority.
Yes.
That is where the strength of the gold is, right there.
Well, that's the starting point. Like, and until we recognize that that is the starting point,
Mhm.
it's an uphill battle. So why would we want to walk an uphill battle when we actually don't need to do that? We
Yeah.
just need to understand, what is it that I can do? What is this? When I merge my professional and my personal experience together and I fuse that together, what is the problem that I can solve? Who needs that problem solved? How do I actually deliver outcomes and results for real? Okay, not tactics, outcomes and results, because you need a system to be able to do that. And maybe I can also incorporate my principles that I've learned on my personal journey. I can incorporate that because I also know how to deliver transformation. Doesn't have to be massive, it can be micro, but it's a transformation. So now I'm showing up on the platform, whether it's social, doesn't matter which social media platform or the external world. I'm now showing up and I'm saying, I'm not showing up to be an authority on LinkedIn. I'm already showing up as the authority.
Right, right, right. And I think I think that's so true. Before, I one of the things I used to tell people is I was GI before I came to LinkedIn 5 years ago. You
That's
know,
right.
it I just began to, I had a public revealing, if you will, right? And I think that as military members, one of the things that we struggle with is that personal and professional generally are kept separate, right? So now that I have choice, right, and for the first time, as I'm transitioning into this new thing called entrepreneurship, I have choice, but I don't
Yes.
really haven't exercised that choice, Mary. Can you speak to that? Like, I haven't exercised it, right? So it's a muscle that's weak. I've made choices based on what I was told to do, but not necessarily what I want to do.
I think, Michelle, that the most important thing is that we dip our toe in the water, and
Mm.
little by little, you just, the muscle gets stronger and stronger. But also, I want to add this. This is why being involved in some type of community outside of our military experience or corporate experience is crucial. It's absolutely crucial. It's the one thing that I wish that somebody had told me when I left my corporate life in 2005. I've been an entrepreneur for a very, very long time now. So it's now my normal. But back then, do you know how scary it was? Nobody told me that the day after, there will be no phone calls, there will be no emails. I was so isolated and I was so scared to put my toe in the water. No one guided me. No one said, go for it. Just go for it. Don't worry. I'm here for you. No one told me that. This is why we must belong to a community. I cannot stress this enough because it's the community that help move you in the right direction. And
Yes.
and I think that we try and do it all alone and try again, going back to that DIY mindset. I'm trying to figure it out myself. I can do it. I'm GI Joe, like I can do this. And it's like, well, you might be able to do it and awesome. But the thing is, eventually you'll get tired because if you don't get the results, you're going to give up. So
Yes.
it just makes so much sense to me to actually be involved in a community, be involved in a tribe, be a part of something bigger than you so that you've got people advocating for you. They're supporting
Yes.
you, they're moving you in the right direction to give you that confidence so that you can fly, like an eagle and go and create the impact that you want.
Yes. So important. And I think military, we are used to community. We're used to community and we thrive in community. And so what would be something that you would say if they can't find community? Because, unfortunately, the veteran community has all these micro segments, right? So there are women veterans, there are men veterans, there are officers, there are enlisted, there are minorities, non-minorities, there's LGBTQ, there's all these little mini segments of veteran community. How would you say one of the first ways for them to build community that would just support them as they begin to start this journey through authentic authority and leading it to a veteran business or business venture?
I think that there's so many micro communities available online. Honestly, you go to
Mhm.
Facebook, there are
Mhm.
quadrillion groups. Go and find groups, put a post in those groups, ask people, is there anyone here in the Atlanta region? Is there anyone here from New York? Is there anyone here from, Melbourne, Australia? I'd love to connect with you. I see this all the time and it's amazing. I've done it. I've gone into those groups. Hey, is anyone here from Australia? I'd love to connect with you. And you meet people and then that's the starting point. Start creating micro communities in real life. Go and have coffees once a week, brainstorm together, share ideas, create little micro events where you can all share your expertise to the community, get experience. So we're not doing that. We want to become millionaires in 24 hours. I mean, it's ridiculous. So, I've been an entrepreneur now for what, 15, 18 years. I still am learning every single day. I'm still doing everything that I teach people. It doesn't, it's not that it gets easier. It's just that you just become, I don't find it weird if I ask somebody, hey, would you like to connect with me? I'm in Melbourne. Let's organize a coffee get together. And suddenly you've got 5 people that are like you. And it's so awesome. So communities are everywhere. There's no excuse, Michelle. That's just an excuse of being lazy. We have to be proactive. You want to be an entrepreneur, you've got to be proactive.
And I'm glad you said that, because one of the challenges is networking, and that is a non-threatening way, right?
Yes.
To build community,
yes,
and to expand your network. Well, we're at about 7:45. You talked about being authentic, really getting to know ourselves, being brave, taking off that, uniform, and really transforming and finding out who we are on the personal and professional side, bringing that together for, to create our own little, I call it niche of expertise based on our experience. I know that you're doing some things. You're going to be doing some things on LinkedIn. Would you share that? Share how people can find you and what's next. And then if anybody has questions, please put those in the chat. I'm looking on LinkedIn, put it in the chat, and I'll be happy to read it out for Mary to answer.
I think that the next thing that I'm really excited about, Michelle, is my LinkedIn live show. So I'm going to be using LinkedIn as my distribution channel. And my show is going to be called the Micro Influencer Show with Mary Henderson. I'm so excited about this because I really want to start unpacking all the different dimensions of, and I actually do not like the word influencer at all. I'm completely anti it, but I'm using it because everyone seems to want to be an influencer. So you know me now, and you know my version of that, and also how to get there, because we don't need 5 million followers. We just need the right followers, the right people that we want to serve. That's all you need. Okay. That could be 100 people, by the way. So I'm doing my show, which is going to be Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And for Australia, it's Friday, 11 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. So that's number one. Anyone can follow me and connect with me on LinkedIn, which is at Mary Henderson Coaching. And if anyone is interested in joining my 12-week bootcamp, which starts April 19th, the next cohort, and you want to turn your knowledge, wisdom, skills, personal, professional experience into a brand, a signature program with wrapped around in a sales and marketing strategy and a content strategy, please reach out to me. Michelle, maybe we can put in the link so people can book a 15-minute Zoom call with me.
Absolutely. And let me see if I can find that. Do you have it readily available? Let me see here. In the meanwhile, while we're doing this, if you've got questions, a question that you want to, hey, Shauna, I see Shauna's here with us. We've got Amir, we've got David, Vika, wow. Ryan. Thank you all for joining us. We've had about 25 people in and out of the session over the last 45 or 47 minutes. And there'll be more that'll be listening afterwards, because this will be available on my page for people to watch. Do you have a question, Shauna? These are the ones who have made comments.
Yeah.
David Amir, Vikas, would you like to ask Mary a question? And as you can see in the chat, there's her link to her upcoming boot camp, which I can tell you has absolutely been transformational for me. Look out, you will get to see what's coming for me based on, the amazing, I would like to call her I think we need to create a new word. It's kind of half coach, half mentor. I love it. A co-mentor, coach mentor.
Yeah.
But I'm going to tell you the process and the systems are mind blowing. I think it's perfect for, those of us who come from corporate or the military who are accustomed to having, do this, then do that, then do
Yes.
this next. And there's homework every week, ladies and gentlemen. But it has been a tremendous experience for me. I absolutely love the international flair of getting to see and hear all these different things that others in the boot camp are doing. It's amazing how we're all getting the same information, but based on our individual knowledge, we're applying it and creating something absolutely that's unique to us. And I want to just thank you. It's been transformational for me. And be looking out for my boot camp that'll be coming in the next,
Yeah.
30, 45 days, 6 weeks or so. So I'm super excited. Let me see if we have any comments. So Shauna says we have to show up for ourselves, know who you are, no matter what space you're in. Absolutely.
100%.
Anybody have questions or comments for Mary? If not, I'm going to ask you, Mary. We've got about 10 minutes or so left. Any last takeaways you want to tell people? Anything you want to share more about the process of the boot camp that I haven't covered?
Let me finish on this note, Michelle, because I
Yeah.
think it's a really important note. I talk a lot about the evolution of you as an entrepreneur, where we start, where we need to be. And I think that we all start at hustle mode. There's nothing wrong with hustle mode, but you've seen my inverted triangle. And
Mhm.
I always start with the wide part on top, and then it comes down. And I do this for a reason, because most people are stuck in that hustle mode. And I want you to all understand how dangerous that is, because hustle keeps you stuck in the glass ceiling. There's 24 hours in a day, and your brain will consume all of your energy. So when you're hustling, as in AKA DIYing, you're consuming so much of your own energy, your own power is being consumed by trying to figure it out. And then you've only got 24 hours in a day. So the more you're trying to figure it out, the further you are away from your purpose and mission. Please understand this. Now, it's okay to start at hustle. It's not okay to stay in hustle. Sadly, most will stay in hustle. We need to evolve to the next stage. I call that wisdom. What do I mean by that? The wisdom, the phase of wisdom is what I've just been talking about with Michelle. We need to unpack our internal inventory, your personal and your professional. When we merge that together, we then have a solution to a problem. But inside that solution, which is what we call our signature program, that is a macro solution. Inside that macro solution, there are unlimited micro and nano solutions. That's what creates unlimited revenue streams in your business. Why? Because you're targeting different avatars who need different needs, who have different needs, wants, and desires. Therefore, they have a different price point. So we need to cater for all of those people, which is why I don't prescribe into this notion of finding your niche. You do not need to do that. It's old digital marketing paradigm talk. Move that. That is limiting you. We need to go into understanding that you have multiple avatars who have different needs, wants, and desires, and your solution can solve problems for all of those avatars. Then we move into the next phase, which is amplification. Amplification is when you already understand that you are the authority, and you are now using your voice and your hands to speak to the external world about your genius, about your wisdom, about your solution, about what you stand for, your values, your principles. All of that falls into amplification. So amplification is the external world seeing you, feeling you, touching you, hearing you, seeing you. You have to want to be in amplification in order for you to be successful. If you don't go there, it's going to be very difficult to monetize your business. And then the pointy part is innovation. And all of us have to constantly innovate in our businesses. And some of us become innovators, like your Netflix, like your Apples, people that actually change consumer behavior. They are innovators, hardcore innovators. But we still need to incorporate innovation in our business. And Michelle, you've witnessed me. My content is evolved sometimes on a week by week basis, because if I'm evolving, my content needs to evolve as well, because then I've shifted my paradigm, and it's like, oh man, like I've got to go to that next level. And so and that's because innovation plays a significant role in my business. And I just wanted to share that, because I feel that a lot of people get stuck in hustle. They don't know why, they don't know how to get out of it. It's not hard to get out of hustle mode, but you need to understand this process to get you to a place of monetization and amplification at the same time.
Well, we've got about 6 minutes, and I want to ask you a question. What about those who are introverts who are afraid to amplify? And then I'll close out with a quick comment, and we'll close out there.
To be an introvert or an extrovert, again, is just a label. But here's how I deal with the introvert. When you understand your natural state of being, you will know what is the best way for you to show up. Is it through your hands, or is it through your voice? We don't have to use our voice and be on video to amplify. You can write the most beautiful posts that are elegant and get to the point and still have the same impact. So understanding who you are in your natural state of being is the most important part.
And why do you think it's important? So what about people who think they can build their business without social media, without being on a platform?
Well, the thing is that some people don't need social media. They've got an amazing network. Their business is more face to face. It's more based on referral. And if that works, amazing. But you still need to articulate what you do, who you serve, what you promise. You still need a system. You still need outcomes, results, transformation. You still need all of the process. And you still need to potentially create, well, not potentially, but you will need to create corporate collateral. That corporate collateral requires language, and the language needs to match what you do, who you serve, and what you promise. So the branding element is a critical aspect. It's almost like the epicenter of what you do. So social media is not a given, but it's just that, I mean, what an opportunity. I mean, like,
amazing.
What an opportunity.
Amazing. It is a huge opportunity, and it's an untapped opportunity. LinkedIn went over 1 billion people. Only about 3% are posting, are there. So what a huge opportunity for businesses to showcase, and entrepreneurs to showcase what they do, who they are, and who they serve. And oh, by the way, share the promises. Mary, I want to thank you so much. What a delight it has been, not only for you to be with you tonight, but to spend the last 10 weeks with you, being transformed. I am new. I have totally relooked at my strategy about who I am, what I want to do, who I want to serve. and what I want to promise. And it reminds me of a story of a friend of mine who was a U.S. Marine, and he had, medals up to here, and he was at his retirement ceremony, and he said, he was giving his speech, and he said, "Oh, I'm just a country boy from Georgia." And I kind of looked, and I kind of spoke out loud to the guy next to me who was his college roommate. And I said, "Who does he think he's fooling?" I mean, this guy spoke several languages. He'd been deployed to Iraq and Afghanistan numerous times, right? He played the piano. He was a Renaissance man. And he said, "Shh." And he said, "I'll talk to you at the reception table." So at the reception table, I go over to him and I say, you know, what do you mean? I mean, why is he downplaying himself? And this is what a lot of us in the military do. We have all these skills and we downplay ourselves. And he said, "Well, you can't show everybody what you're working with, can you?" And I said, "Well, I don't know." And he said, "You're going to tell me everybody deserves your excellence." And I, Mary, am rarely speechless. And I said to him, "Give me your phone number. I don't know the answer now, but I am going to contemplate this question." This was on a Friday. On Saturday, I'm thinking about it. On Sunday, I'm thinking about it. Even dreaming about, does everybody deserve your excellence? On Monday morning, I woke up and God said, "Yes, everybody deserves your excellence." When we're excellent, one, we glorify God and say, "Thank you for all the gifts and talents you have given me." Two, when we're excellent, we tell others, "You better step up your game." Three, when we're excellent, we are able to give others permission to be excellent. And four, when we are excellent, guess what? That is where the mission and the money and the difference matters. And so I want to say that through your program, I and others are able to bring our best excellence to the people that God has appointed us to serve. I can't thank you enough. You
Amen.
have been an absolute delight to work with. This is just the beginning. You're not getting rid of me.
I love it. I love everything that you're saying. Like, it just makes my heart sing so much. So, and it's been delightful as well on the other on the receiving end. So, you need good stock to work with. When you're a coach, you've got to, you need the goods to be able to
Yes,
convert
yes,
that into something tangible, and you had the goods.
yes.
So that's the most important thing. So you are really, really special, and I really thank you too.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us. This has been the very first session of the GI Factor. You'll be hearing from me more. I hope to get Mary back, maybe to even have some of my cohort members to come
Yeah.
share with what they're doing as a result of their experience in Mary's course. But we are out to change the world and bring our excellence and mission to the market. I want to say, if you're a veteran, you're a woman veteran, and you are in business and you want to get clarity, check out Mary. Once you've checked out Mary and you want to understand government contracting and how to transition into that space, come on over and see me. Follow Mary, follow me. We bring value to the market, and it has been our pleasure to be with you this evening. Thank you so much, Mary.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Michelle.
everybody.